A lot of leaders aren't burned out because they hate work or they hate their job. They're actually burned out and tapped out because the relationship has changed with their job, their work, and nobody's told them. This series is called Love and Work. We're rewriting the relationship between loyalty and leadership. And in this series, we're talking about how our relationship with work has changed and how leaders can reclaim their clarity and authority inside of their work. So, I'm Delilah Bardlette. I am your leadership auntie, and a lot of my work is about helping leaders discover what I like to call their authentic intelligence. This is so that they can lead from a place not of pressure, but from clarity, ease, and authority. So let's start the series with this question. When did you first fall in love with work? And I chose to use work and not career because I understand some of us are in civic, some of us are in nonprofit, profit, some of us are business owners, but just the idea, um, and maybe less business owners and more working for folks. But when you first fell in love with work, um, not the job, not just the job title, right? Not the employer themselves, but the idea of work. For many of us, work wasn't just something that we did, isn't just something we do. It's something we believe in. And that belief has shaped far more of our lives than we probably want to admit. There's a version of work many of us met early in our lives or are meeting now, the promised growth, the stability, right? Things like progress, a sense that effort mattered. And if we showed up, if we learned, if we stayed committed, that there was this unspoken agreement that work would lead somewhere meaningful. So we organized our lives around it, our schedules around it, our families around work, our identities around work. And work wasn't just a paycheck, not just a paycheck. It felt like a partnership. And a lot of people listening right now know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a relationship. It's a relationship. I can remember when I first fell in love with work, the idea of the glamour almost of what it could entail, the promise of what it could entail. It felt honest. It felt purposeful. It felt like if contribution and commitment were met, they would collide with opportunity. And I didn't just give work my time, I gave work my loyalty, like you, my energy, my ambition. And for a long time, that relationship actually worked. But what I didn't realize then was how deeply I had tied my sense of self value, the future, to that relationship without ever stopping to question whether that relationship would always stay the same. And if you've been around the world for any amount of time and in any type of relationship, we know relationships shift. And so it does with us in the idea of work. So here's what I now know. Many of us aren't struggling with work because we're lazy, entitled, or unclear. You're struggling internally because the relationship has shifted and nobody has acknowledged it. So work changed, work evolved, systems shifted, expectations expanded, like things just showed up different. But many of us as leaders are still out here operating from old agreements that no longer exist. They just don't. And so that tension between what we committed to and what work became is where confusion, burnout, and self doubt can quietly take root because things are shifting around you and nobody's talking about it. This matters because leadership actually starts with honesty. You can't lead yourself forward if you're still loyal to a version of work that no longer exists. You got to keep it real. Healthy leadership requires clarity about what has changed, courage to reassess old commitments, takes courage, and a discernment about how you engage moving forward, right? It's an intention. There's an intention to reassess and reestablish how you will engage moving forward to keep yourself, your environment, and those around you healthy and whole. This isn't about resentment, you got it out for whoever. This is about maturity. Because again, all relationships shift. This is about reclaiming agency in this relationship. So, this series is about revisiting our relationship with work honestly, without shame and without blame. Because when you understand how you first fell in love with work, you can better understand why the disconnect feels so heavy now. Like I am speaking from um, a space of familiarity. Like I know this space. And I really wanted to come and create a conversation around it because people don't talk about things like this. Like, man, this relationship shifted. And I don't remember when it shifted. So we got 5 different episodes of this. In effort to identify, give language and permission to what you're feeling so that then you can move on to your next great level of leadership. So in the next episode, we'll talk about the moment many of us realized that the relationship had changed and what that realization now demands for your leadership today. So stay with me as we go through this series of love and work, rewriting the relationship between loyalty and leadership. I think this is really going to help some people. Be sure to share with your friends, family, colleagues, because some of the people who work for you may be in this position like, man, this used to be this way and I don't understand what's happening. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Say come back for the next episode. Be sure to just subscribe and all the things. Follow me in all the places. But let's just go ahead and talk about things that matter. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Take care.